Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Starship Endeavour and watched the alien ship grow larger on the main screen.
What?
His heart was beating fast. This was the moment humanity had dreamed about for hundreds of years. First contact with another intelligent species. "They're beautiful," whispered Dr. Amy Carter, the ship's expert on alien life. She was standing next to Morrison, staring at the screen with wide eyes. The Zenthari ship looked like a giant crystal floating in space. It was twice the size of the Endeavour and sparkled with blue and silver lights. Morrison pressed a button on his chair. "This is Captain Morrison to all crew. Today, we make history. Remember, we represent all of humanity. Stay calm and follow protocol." The radio crackled to life. Admiral Ben Hayes was calling from Earth. "Morrison, you have permission to begin. Contact procedures. The whole world is watching. Make us proud." "Yes, sir," Morrison replied. He looked at Dr. Carter. "Amy, you ready to talk to our new friends?" Dr. Carter nodded and walked to her station. She had spent years learning the Zenthari language from their first radio messages. The aliens had contacted Earth 6 months ago with simple math problems and basic words. They seemed friendly and wanted to meet. The Zenthari ship sent a message. Dr. Carter listened through her headphones and then turned to Morrison. "They want us to come aboard their ship. They say they have prepared a welcome ceremony for us." Morrison felt excited but also nervous. Commander Lisa Brooks, his military advisor, stepped forward. "Sir, I recommend caution. We should invite them to our ship instead." "Lisa, they traveled across the galaxy to meet us," Morrison said. "We need to show good faith. Besides, their ship is much bigger. They probably have better facilities for a meeting." Dr. Carter was already preparing the translation equipment. "Captain, they're sending specific instructions. They want only 5 people to come over. They say too many humans might overwhelm their sensors." Morrison made his decision quickly. "I'll go with Dr. Carter, Commander Brooks, Engineer Tom Wilson, and Pilot Sarah Johnson. The rest of you stay here and monitor everything." 20 minutes later, Morrison and his team were floating through space in a small shuttle toward the alien ship. The Zenthari vessel was even more impressive up close. Its surface looked like it was made of living metal that changed colors as they watched. "Look at that," Tom Wilson said, pointing at symbols that glowed along the ship's hull. "Those markings are moving. It's like the ship is alive." A large opening appeared in the side of the Zenthari ship. Their shuttle was pulled inside by some kind of invisible force. The opening closed behind them, and they felt gravity return as atmosphere filled the docking bay. "Atmosphere is good," Sarah Johnson reported, checking her instruments. "Oxygen levels are actually higher than Earth normal." They left the shuttle and walked into the alien ship. The corridors were wide and tall, with walls that glowed softly. Everything looked smooth and perfect, like it had been grown rather than built. 3 Zenthari aliens were waiting for them. Morrison had seen pictures from their video messages, but seeing them in person was different. They were tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large black eyes. They wore robes that seemed to shift color as they moved. The lead alien stepped forward and spoke in perfect English. "Welcome, humans of Earth. I am First Speaker Corvain. We are honored to meet the children of the third planet." Dr. Carter was so excited she could barely speak. "This is incredible. Your English is perfect. How did you learn so quickly?" "Are quick learners," Corvain said with what might have been a smile. "Please, follow us to the ceremony hall. We have prepared gifts for your species." They walked through corridors filled with amazing technology, showed moving pictures of distant worlds. Strange music played from invisible speakers. Commander Brooks kept looking around carefully, but everything seemed peaceful. The ceremony hall was huge, with a ceiling that showed real stars. Dozens of Zenthari were waiting, all wearing ceremonial robes. Morrison felt proud. This was really happening. The humans were being welcomed into the galactic community. Corvain led them to a platform in the center of the room. "Please stand here while we perform the welcoming ritual. This is an ancient tradition for greeting new species." Morrison and his team stood together on the platform. The Zenthari around them began to hum in harmony. The sound was beautiful and strange. Dr. Carter was recording everything with her equipment. "This is amazing," she whispered to Morrison. "They're accepting us as equals. This changes everything for humanity. But Commander Brooks was frowning. She noticed that the humming was getting louder and the platform they stood on was beginning to glow. Captain, something feels wrong. What? The energy readings are spiking. Morrison was about to answer when Corvain's expression changed completely. The friendly smile was gone, replaced by something cold and cruel. Yes, Commander Brooks. Something is very wrong indeed. The humming stopped suddenly. The silence was terrible. Morrison felt his stomach drop as he realized they had made a horrible mistake. You see, Corvain continued, his voice now harsh and mocking, we did not come here to welcome you. We came to study you, to learn your weaknesses. And now we know. Everything we need to know. Energy barriers appeared around the platform, trapping the humans inside. Dr. Carter dropped her recording equipment and grabbed Morrison's arm. Jake, what's happening? You are a young species, Corvain said, walking slowly around their prison. Your planet is rich in resources we need. Your people are weak, but could serve as useful workers. We thank you for making this so easy. Commander Brooks was trying to reach her weapon, but the energy field was blocking her movements. You lying bastards.
This was all a trick.
Not a trick, Corvain replied. Simply good strategy. We have been watching your species for decades. We know exactly how to defeat you. Your armies, your weapons, your defenses, all useless against us. Morrison felt sick with horror and anger. Our people trusted you. We came here in peace. Peace is for the strong, Corvain said. The weak serve or die. Your choice is simple. The energy field began to hurt. Morrison could feel it burning his skin. Sarah Johnson was screaming. Tom Wilson had collapsed to his knees. Dr. Carter looked at Morrison with tears in her eyes. Sorry, Jake. I believed them. I wanted to believe them so badly. Morrison managed to reach his communicator despite the energy field. He activated the emergency signal. Endeavor, this is Morrison. We are under attack. The Zenthari are hostile. Pete, the Zenthari are hostile. Get back to Earth. Warn everyone. The signal went through just before the energy field disabled their equipment. On the Endeavor, the crew received Morrison's final message and watched in horror as weapons appeared all over the Zenthari ship. Morrison's last thought before losing. Consciousness was about Earth. His home planet had no idea what was coming. The friendly aliens were actually predators. Humanity was about to learn that the galaxy was not a safe place for the innocent. General Tony Martinez stood in the underground bunker beneath Colorado and watched the world end on a dozen screens. Red dots covered the map of Earth, each one marking a city under attack. The Zenthari had arrived 3 days ago with a fleet of 200 ships, and they were burning everything. Sir, we just lost contact with Miami, reported Lieutenant Colonel Jane Foster. Her voice was steady, but Martinez could see the fear in her eyes. That makes 47 major cities destroyed in the first wave. Martinez gripped his coffee. Cup so hard his knuckles turned white. The coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he kept holding it anyway. It helped him focus. What about our missiles? Did any of them get through? Negative, sir. Their shields are too strong. Everything we throw at them just bounces off. Nuclear missiles, railguns, energy weapons. Nothing works. On the main screen, Martinez watched alien ships hovering over New York City. Beams of white light shot down from the ships, turning skyscrapers into dust. He had seen this same scene repeated across every continent. The aliens were not just attacking military targets. They were destroying everything. Dr. Kevin Park burst through the bunker doors, carrying a metal briefcase. He looked like he had not slept in days. His usually neat hair was messy, and his lab coat was stained with coffee and sweat. General, I think I found something. Martinez turned away from the horrible screens. Talk to me, Kevin. Give me some. Good news. Dr. Park opened his briefcase and pulled out pieces of alien metal. This is debris from a Zenthari fighter that crashed in Nevada yesterday. I've been studying it for 18 hours straight. Their technology is incredible, but it has a weakness. Martinez asked, feeling hope for the first time in days. Their shields work by creating an energy field around their ships, but the field has to connect to power generators inside the ship. If we can disrupt the connection with the right frequency, the shields fail completely. Lieutenant Colonel Foster looked up from her computer. What frequency? Dr. Park pulled out a small device that looked like a radio. I modified this police scanner to broadcast on 2.4 terahertz. Not much, but it might work if we can get close enough to their ships. Martinez felt his heart beating faster. How close? Maybe 50 meters. The signal is not very strong. 50 meters, Martinez repeated. That meant getting almost close enough to touch the alien ships. First real chance they had. What do you need from me? I need teams of volunteers, Dr. Park said. People who can get close to the alien ships and use these devices. It's going to be dangerous. Most of them probably won't come back. Martinez looked at the screens again. On one monitor, he could see alien soldiers marching human prisoners into large ships. The prisoners looked defeated and scared. Children were crying. Adults were being separated from their families. I'll find your volunteers, Martinez said. 2 days later, Maria Santos crouched behind a burned car in what used to be downtown Los Angeles. The city was in ruins. Buildings had been knocked down or turned to ash. Bodies lay in the streets. The smell of smoke and death was everywhere. Maria was 26 years old and used to work as a police officer. Now she was part of the resistance. She carried Dr. Park's device in her backpack, along with enough explosives to blow up a small building. Her mission was simple, but almost impossible. Get close to the alien ship hovering over the city center and activate the device. Maria, you. Copy. The voice in her earpiece belonged to Colonel Rick Thompson, who was coordinating the attack from 5 miles away. I'm here, Maria whispered. I can see the ship. It's about 2 blocks away. The Zenthari ship was massive, bigger than a football stadium. It floated 30 feet above the ground, held up by some kind of invisible force. Alien soldiers walked around underneath it, guarding groups of human prisoners. Remember, you need to get within 50 meters and hold the signal for at least 30 seconds, Thompson said. Can you do it? Maria checked her watch. In exactly 10 minutes, resistance fighters all over the world would try the same thing. It was humanity's last desperate plan. If it failed, the war was over. I can do it, Maria said, even though she was terrified. She started moving from car to car, getting closer to the alien ship. The Zenthari soldiers were tall and thin, wearing armor that looked like liquid metal. They carried weapons that could turn a person to ash with one shot. Maria made it to within 100 meters before a Zenthari soldier spotted her. The alien pointed its weapon at her and shouted something in its own language. Other soldiers turned to look. Now or never, Maria whispered to herself. She ran as fast as she could toward the ship, pulling the device from her backpack. The Zenthari soldiers were shooting at her, but she kept running. One energy blast hit the ground next to her, leaving a crater the size of a bathtub. Maria reached the 50-meter mark and activated Dr. Park's device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air around the alien ship began to shimmer. The ship's smooth, perfect surface started to flicker. It's working, Maria shouted into her radio. The shield is failing. The Zenthari soldiers were panicking. They had never seen their technology fail before. Some of them were shooting at the device, but they could not hit it accurately while their ship was losing power. Maria held her position for 30 seconds, just like Dr. Park had told her. Then she saw human fighter jets approaching from the east. Military planes that had been useless for days were finally getting through the alien defenses. The first missile hit the Zenthari ship with an explosion that shook the ground. The ship, no longer protected by its shields, began to smoke and tilt to one side. More missiles followed. Within minutes, the massive alien vessel crashed into the ruins of a shopping mall. Holy shit, it worked. Thompson's voice crackled through Maria's radio. Maria, you did it. The ship is down. Maria felt tears running down her face, but she was smiling. Round the world, other resistance fighters were reporting the same success. Alien shields were failing. Human weapons were finally working, but the celebration did not last long. Maria looked up and saw more Zenthari ships descending from orbit. Dozens of them. The aliens were angry now. and they were coming in force. The real war was just beginning. Earth had won its first battle, but half the planet was already in ruins. Billions of people were dead or captured. The survivors would have to fight harder than any humans had ever fought before. Maria picked up her rifle and started walking toward the next alien ship. She was scared and tired and hungry, but she was not giving up. None of them were giving up. Xanthari had made a mistake when they attacked Earth. They thought humans were weak and easy to defeat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Director Sam Walsh walked through the ruins of Washington, D.C., 5 years after the Xanthari invasion ended. The city was being rebuilt, but it looked nothing like the old capital. Every building was now a fortress. Every street corner had weapons, turrets. Every citizen carried a gun. Walsh stopped at a memorial wall covered with millions of names. 3 billion people had died during the 18 months of alien occupation. His wife's name was there, along with his 2 children. He touched their names with his finger, just like he did every morning. "Sir, the test is ready," said his assistant, Captain Jenny Moore. She was young, maybe 25, but she had fought in the resistance during the invasion. Everyone who survived those days had old eyes now. Walsh nodded and followed her to a waiting military transport. The vehicle was built from alien technology, but improved by human engineers. It could fly faster than any Xanthari fighter and carried weapons that could destroy an entire city block. They flew over the new Earth for 30 minutes. Below them, massive factories worked day and night building weapons. Training camps prepared every human over 16 for combat. Space elevators carried materials to orbital shipyards, where humanity's new fleet was taking shape. The transport landed at Area 51, which was now called the Terran Defense Research Center. The base had grown to cover 50 square miles of desert. Underground tunnels connected dozens of laboratories, where humanity's best minds worked on projects that would have been impossible before the invasion. Engineer Rachel Kim was waiting for them at the main lab. She was 40 years old and had spent the last 5 years turning captured alien technology into something much more dangerous. Her team had reverse-engineered every piece of Xanthari equipment they could find. Director Walsh welcomed a project. "Prometheus," Rachel said, leading them into a massive underground chamber. "I think you're going to like what we've built." The chamber was the size of an airplane hangar. In the center sat a spaceship that looked like nothing Earth had ever built before. It was sleek and black with curves that seemed to flow like water. Energy weapons bristled from its hull like the spines of a dangerous animal. "This is our new destroyer-class warship," Rachel explained, walking around the ship with obvious pride. "We call it the Revenge. It's twice as fast as a Xanthari cruiser and 10 times more deadly." Walsh stared at the ship. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. "What can it do?" "The main gun can punch through any known alien shield technology," Rachel said. "The missile systems can track and destroy 100 targets simultaneously. And the best part is the stealth system. When active, this ship is completely invisible to alien sensors." Captain Dan Miller climbed down from the ship's cockpit. He was one of Earth's new breed of pilots trained to fly using both human instincts and alien technology. "Sir, I've been testing this beauty for 3 months. She handles like a dream and hits like a freight train." Walsh walked closer to examine the ship's weapons. Each gun barrel was inscribed with names of destroyed cities: New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai. The engineers had not forgotten what the aliens had done to Earth. "How many of these can we build?" Walsh asked. "We're already building 50 more, Rachel replied. "That's just the beginning. Come see what else we've been working on." She led them to another chamber where teams of scientists worked on smaller projects. Agent Sophie Turner was there, testing new types of personal weapons. She had been a CIA operative before the invasion, and now worked for Earth's new intelligence service. "Sophie, show the director your latest toy," Rachel said. Sophie picked up what looked like a normal pistol. "This weapon fires micromissiles that can penetrate any personal armor we've encountered. Each bullet seeks its target and explodes on impact. One shot can take down a Xanthari soldier, even if he's wearing full combat gear." She fired the weapon at a target across the room. The bullet curved through the air like it was alive, struck the center of the target, and exploded with enough force to shake the floor. Impressive, Walsh said. But what happens when the aliens come back with better armor? Sophie smiled coldly. Then we'll build better bullets. The beauty of human technology is that we never stop improving. The Xanthari build something once and use it for centuries. Build something new every month. Walsh spent the rest of the day touring the facility. He saw laboratories where scientists were creating new types of explosives, training rooms where soldiers learned to fight in zero gravity, communication centers where intelligence agents listened to alien transmissions from across the galaxy. The most impressive sight was the command center, where hundreds of screens showed Earth's new defensive systems. Orbital weapon platforms surrounded the planet like a deadly shell. Moon bases housed missile launchers that could reach any point in the solar system. Mars was being converted into a giant military base. "Sir, we have a visitor," announced Lieutenant Bob Harris from the communications station. "Long-range sensors have detected a single Xanthari scout ship approaching the outer solar system." Walsh felt his heart rate increase. This was the moment they had been preparing for. "Are they trying to communicate?" "Negative, sir. They're just observing from a distance. Same pattern they used before the invasion." "Then let's give them something to observe," Walsh said. He turned to Captain Miller. "Dan, take the Revenge out for a test flight. Show our alien friends what we've been up to." 20 minutes later, the new human warship launched from Earth's surface. It moved so fast that ground-based cameras could barely track it. Within an hour, it had reached the edge of the solar system, where the Xanthari scout was hiding. The alien ship tried to run when it detected the human vessel, but it was too late. The Revenge was faster and more maneuverable than anything the Xanthari had ever built. Captain Miller disabled the alien ship with a single precise shot that knocked out its engines without destroying it. Unknown vessel. "This is Captain Miller of the Terran Defense Force." He broadcast on all frequencies. "You are trespassing in human space. Prepare to be boarded." Miller's team searched the alien ship and found detailed files on Earth's defenses from 5 years ago. The Xanthari had been planning another invasion, but their intelligence was completely out of date.
Ow.
They had no idea how much humanity had changed. "Let them go," Walsh ordered when Miller reported his findings. "But make sure they understand the message." Miller released the Xanthari scout ship, but not before uploading a special file to their computers. The file contained video footage of Earth's new weapons in action, ships being destroyed, planets being cracked open, alien fleets running in terror. The scout ship limped away at maximum speed, carrying news that would spread throughout the Xanthari Empire and beyond. Humanity was no longer the weak species that had been conquered 5 years ago. They had become something new, something dangerous. Walsh watched the alien ship disappear into deep space and smiled grimly. The galaxy was about to learn that Earth's children had grown up, and they were angry about what had been done to their home. The next visitors would not be scouts, it would be fleets. And humanity would be ready for them. Admiral Kate Johnson stood on the bridge of the human flagship Vengeance as it dropped out of hyperspace near the Xanthari colony world of Corvax Prime. The planet looked peaceful from orbit, with blue oceans and green continents, but intelligence. Reports said this world housed 50 million Xanthari civilians and military personnel. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Mike Stevens from the tactical station. The human fleet consisted of 30 warships, each one deadlier than anything the galaxy had seen before. They had traveled 800 light-years from Earth to deliver a message. Kate had been a fighter pilot during the invasion 10 years ago. She had watched Los Angeles burn from her cockpit while alien ships destroyed everything she loved. Ain't now. She commanded humanity's most powerful fleet, and it was time for payback. "Open a channel to the planet," Kate ordered. "Let's talk to our old friends." The main screen flickered to life, showing a Xanthari command center on the planet's surface. The alien who appeared was tall and thin like all his species, with pale blue skin and large black eyes. Kate recognized the species that had murdered 3 billion humans. "I'm Admiral Kate Johnson of the Terran Defense Force," she announced. You have exactly 1 hour to evacuate this planet. Anyone still here after that will be considered a military target. The Xanthari commander looked confused and angry. You cannot threaten us, human. This is our world. You have no authority here, Kate smiled coldly. Actually, we do. You see, 10 years ago, your people attacked our planet without warning. You killed our families. You enslaved our children. You burned our cities. Now we're here to return the favor. That was a legitimate military action, the alien replied. Your species was occupying valuable resources. We simply claimed what was rightfully ours. Then you won't mind when we claim. What's rightfully ours? Kate said. She gestured to Commander Stevens, who began targeting systems on the planet below. You have 59 minutes remaining. Ambassador Paul Anderson was watching the conversation from his position on the diplomatic ship Hartford. He had been sent along to handle negotiations, but his version of diplomacy was very different from the old days. Paul carried the authority to speak for all of humanity, and he was not interested in being polite. Admiral Johnson, this is Ambassador Anderson. I'm detecting several other alien fleets in nearby systems. Word is spreading fast. Kate nodded. That was exactly what they wanted. This mission was not really about destroying one Xanthari colony. It was about sending a message to every hostile species in the galaxy. Humanity was no longer prey. On the planet below, panic was spreading through the Xanthari cities. Their leaders had not expected humans to travel so far from Earth or to possess such advanced technology. The human ships were using stealth systems that made them nearly invisible until they were ready to attack. Major Alex Chen led a team of human special forces soldiers who had infiltrated the planet 3 days earlier. They were hidden in the capital city, watching the chaos through advanced surveillance equipment. Alex had fought in the resistance during Earth's occupation and knew exactly how to wage this kind of war. Admiral, this is Major Chen on the surface. The aliens are trying to organize a defense, but they're panicking. They're not used to being the ones under attack. Dr. Nina Rodriguez was also monitoring the situation from her position aboard the science vessel Discovery. She was humanity's leading expert on alien psychology, and her job was to understand how different species would react to human tactics. Kate, I'm reading massive communication traffic across the Xanthari networks. They're broadcasting emergency warnings to other colonies. Fear levels are extremely high. Good, Kate replied. Fear is exactly what we want them to feel. The hour passed quickly. Most of the Xanthari civilians managed to evacuate and transport ships that fled to other star systems. But the military forces remained, along with about 5 million aliens, who either could not leave or refused to abandon their homes. Time's up, Kate announced. All ships commence bombardment. The human fleet opened fire with weapons that had been specifically designed to overcome Xanthari defenses. Energy beams lanced down from orbit, targeting military installations and industrial centers. The planet's shields lasted less than 5 minutes before collapsing completely. Kate did not target civilian areas, but she made sure the military bases were completely destroyed. Spaceports became craters. Weapons factories turned to ash. Within 2 hours, the Xanthari colony had lost all ability to fight back or produce war materials. This is Admiral Johnson to all remaining Xanthari forces, Kate broadcast. Your military capability has been eliminated. You are no longer a threat to anyone. We will leave your civilians alone, but remember this day. This is what happens when you attack humanity. The human fleet departed as quickly as it had arrived, leaving behind a crippled world and 50 million terrified aliens.
Ow.
But the real impact was just beginning. News of the attack spread through the galaxy faster than any human ship could travel. Within days, every major alien civilization had received reports of the human assault. The story grew larger with each telling. Some versions claimed the humans had cracked the planet in half. Others said they had killed everyone on the world in minutes. Ambassador Anderson traveled to the Rigel system to meet with the Hegemony Council, a group of 12 alien species that controlled a large portion of the galaxy. The council members were worried about humanity's growing reputation and wanted to negotiate some kind of peace treaty. Ambassador Anderson, We understand that your species suffered losses during the Zenthari conflict, said Counselor Vex A, squid-like creature from the ocean worlds. But surely we can find a diplomatic solution to prevent further violence. Paul looked around the council chamber at the dozen different alien species represented there. Some looked like giant insects. Others resembled walking plants or crystalline beings. All of them were afraid of what humanity might do next. The solution is simple, Paul said calmly. Leave us alone. Don't attack our colonies. Don't threaten our ships. Don't interfere with human space. Do that, and we'll have no problems. And if we refuse? Asked another counselor, a reptilian, creature with scales that changed color when it spoke. Paul smiled the same cold smile that Admiral Johnson had used at Korvax Prime. Then you'll discover why the Zenthari are no longer expanding their empire. We've visited 17 of their colony worlds in the past 6 months. Each time, we've left the same message. Attack humanity, and we'll find you wherever you hide. Council members whispered among themselves in a dozen different languages. Finally, Counselor Vex spoke again. We will consider your terms, Ambassador. But surely you understand that other species have legitimate territorial claims and defense needs. Of course, Paul replied. Feel free to defend yourselves against anyone except us. But if you come looking for a fight with humanity, you'll get more than you bargained for. The meeting ended with no formal agreements, but Paul was satisfied. The aliens were clearly frightened by humanity's new reputation. Stories of human brutality and technological superiority were spreading faster than any military campaign could achieve. Major Chun's Special Forces teams were already operating in dozens of star systems, gathering intelligence and eliminating threats before they could organize. Dr. Rodriguez was studying alien communication networks. Learning how fear and rumors spread through different species, the galaxy was beginning to understand that humanity had changed. They were no longer the peaceful, trusting species that had been so easily conquered. They had become something new, something dangerous, something that preferred to strike first and ask questions later. And the best part was that most alien species had no idea how much worse it could get. Humanity was just getting started. President Helen Foster stood in the war room beneath New Washington and watched the biggest alien fleet in galactic history approach Earth. 2,000 ships from 40 different species were coming together under the banner of the Galactic Council. They called it a peacekeeping mission, but everyone knew it was really an invasion, Madam President. The alien fleet will reach our outer defenses in 6 hours, reported General Carl Brooks, who had replaced Martinez after his death, in a raid on the Zenthari homeworld. Fleet Admiral Patterson has our forces in position. Lean looked at the tactical display showing Earth's solar system. Human ships were scattered throughout the area, hidden behind asteroids and moons. Orbital weapons platforms surrounded Earth, like a deadly shell. The Moon and Mars bristled with missile launchers and energy cannons. Any word from their diplomat? Helen asked. Counselor Zexai is requesting immediate surrender, said Secretary of Defense Laura Kim. He claims the galaxy cannot allow humanity to continue its aggressive expansion. He wants us to submit to galactic law and accept alien oversight of our military. Helen almost laughed. After 15 years of war, the aliens still did not understand what they were dealing with. Send him a response. Tell him we'll meet in 1 hour to discuss terms. Counselor Zexai arrived in a small diplomatic ship, accompanied by representatives from 20 alien species. The squid-like creature from the ocean worlds had been chosen to lead the negotiations. Because his people had never fought humans directly, the council hoped he might be able to reason with Earth's leaders. The meeting took place on a neutral space station at the edge of the solar system. Helen brought only a small security detail and Ambassador Paul Anderson, who had become famous throughout the galaxy for his harsh diplomacy. President Foster, thank you for agreeing to meet, Zexai said through his translation device. The Galactic Council hopes we can resolve this conflict without further bloodshed. Helen sat down across from the alien delegation and studied their faces. Some looked nervous. Others seemed angry. All of them were afraid, even if they tried. To hide it, Counselor, let me save us both some time, Helen said calmly. You're here because you're scared of what humanity has become. You've heard the stories about what we did to the Zenthari Empire. You know we don't negotiate with species that threaten us. We are not threatening you, Zex, I replied quickly. We simply want to establish peaceful relations and bring humanity into the galactic community as civilized members. Paul Anderson leaned forward with a cold smile that had terrified diplomats across the galaxy. Civilized by whose standards? The same civilizations that stood by and watched while the Zenthari burned our cities. The same ones that refused to help when 3 billion humans died. A reptilian delegate hissed angrily. Your species has become a threat to galactic stability. You attack without warning. You show no mercy to defeated enemies. You refuse to follow established laws of war. Laws written by species that never faced extinction, Helen replied. We learned our lessons the hard way. Trust no one. Strike first. Show no weakness. Zexai's tentacles writhed nervously. President Foster, we have assembled the largest fleet in galactic history. Over 2,000 ships from our most advanced civilizations. Surely you must see that resistance is futile. Helen stood up from her chair and walked to the window overlooking space. In the distance, she could see the alien fleet approaching like a swarm of angry insects. It was indeed impressive. Under normal circumstances, such a force could conquer half the galaxy. You want to know what I see when I look at your fleet? Helen asked. I see 2,000 ships that are about to learn why no one attacks Earth anymore. Fleet Admiral Roy Patterson was waiting aboard the human flagship Retribution when President Foster gave him the signal. The alien fleet had entered the solar system in battle formation, clearly intending to intimidate humanity into surrender. It all. Ships, this is Admiral Patterson, he broadcast on the secure human channel. Execute Operation Cleansing Fire. Show them what happens when they come to our home. The human response was swift and brutal. Ships that had been invisible suddenly appeared throughout the alien formation. Weapons that the aliens had never seen before tore through their shields like paper. The carefully organized enemy fleet dissolved into chaos within minutes. Captain Emma Davis commanded the newest human dreadnought, a ship so advanced that it could destroy entire fleets by itself. She targeted the alien command ships first, cutting off communication and coordination between the different species. Direct hit on the Hegemony flagship, reported her weapons officer. Their admiral is dead. Good, Emma, replied coldly. Target the next command ship. Let's see how brave they are when their leaders start dying. The battle was not really a battle at all. It was a demonstration. Human ships moved through the alien fleet like wolves among sheep, destroying anything that tried to fight back and crippling ships that attempted to flee. Advanced stealth technology made the human vessels nearly impossible to target, while their weapons could penetrate any known defense. Major Alex Chen led boarding parties onto several alien ships, capturing their computers and communication systems. His teams moved with surgical precision, eliminating resistance without damaging valuable intelligence data. Admiral Patterson, this is Major Chen. We've captured the Council's battle plans and communication logs. They were planning to occupy Earth for at least 50 years. Copy that, Major. Make sure none of their ships escape to report back. Dr. Nina Rodriguez monitored alien communications from her position aboard the science vessel. She could hear the panic and terror in their voices as they realized their mighty fleet was being destroyed by a smaller human force. Admiral, I'm detecting massive psychological trauma across the alien fleet. Several ships are requesting permission to surrender. Others are simply trying to flee the system. Let them run, Patterson replied. But make sure they carry our message back to their home worlds. The entire battle lasted less than 30 minutes. Of the 2,000 ships that had entered the solar system, fewer than 100 survived to escape. The rest were either destroyed or captured by human forces. President Foster was still in the diplomatic meeting when the battle ended. Counselor Zexai and his delegates had watched the destruction of their fleet on the station's monitors, and they looked like they had seen the end of the world. Oh, Zexai whispered, his tentacles shaking with fear.
Don't you?
How did you destroy such a large fleet so quickly? Helen sat back down and looked at each alien delegate in turn. Because we're not the same species you met 25 years ago. We're not the peaceful explorers who trusted your promises of friendship, or what you made us when you stood by and watched us burn. She activated a recording device and began broadcasting on all galactic frequencies. Every civilization in the galaxy would receive this message within days. This is President Helen Foster of the United Earth Government. Today, 40 alien species attempted to invade our solar system with a fleet of 2,000 ships. That fleet no longer exists. This is our final message to the galaxy. Earth is our home. Humanity is under our protection. Come here with peaceful intentions, and you will be welcomed. Come here with hostile intentions, and you will die. We are not the victims we once were. We are the apex predators of this galaxy, and we earned that title through blood and fire. Consider this your only warning. The transmission ended, and Helen looked at the surviving alien delegates. You have 1 hour to leave our space. Anyone still here after that will join the rest of your fleet. Zexai and his terrified companions fled the station without another word. Within hours, news of the battle was spreading across the galaxy faster than light itself. The story grew with each telling, becoming legend. Humanity had faced the largest military force in galactic history and destroyed it in less than an hour. The message was clear to every species that heard it. Earth was protected by demons who showed no mercy to their enemies. From that day forward, no hostile alien fleet ever approached the solar system again. The galaxy had learned to fear a simple phrase that was whispered in 100 different languages. Come to Earth and you die. Humanity had become exactly what the galaxy had forced them to become. And now, everyone would live with the consequences.